لكن تحديت الظروف وخضتها وحدي صبورا مستعينا بالصلاة. كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي، كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أسى محن تمر، وكم كرهت مصابها.
But what of the claim of the alleged khuruj of 12 companions over those tumultuous 12 years?
المجموع 12 صحابيا رأوا جواز الخروج على الحاكم الظالم.
Remember, Islamically, shar'an, khuruj, literally going out, describes an act of rebellion against the authority. Technically, istilahan, khuruj becomes khuruj when a party rescinds their oath of allegiance to their imam, the Muslim ruler. The greatest companion who is most routinely accused of having rebelled against the temporal imam of his time is Al-Hussein bin Ali.
أولهم الحسين حفيد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في السنة 61 خرج على الحاكم الظالم.
It's not, you can't label the people who have done it historically as Muqtada'a or Khawarij. That's factually incorrect. You're going to have to say that about Hussain. You're going to have to say that many of the Sahaba.
But Hussein did not swear any oath of allegiance to Yazid. He stayed his hand, withheld his tongue, and withdrew, quietly and inconspicuously, from Medina to Mecca. So technically, and technicalities matter when it comes to the honour and blood of the believers, no less major companions, technically, Hussein never rebelled.
Now you're going to make the decision. I'm going to now present, because he said Hussein did not do khuruj aslan. Okay, so he did not do khuruj. So let me present all the scholars, okay, that confirm that Hussein did khuruj. As you can see in my hand, I've got Fathul Bari by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, okay. Fathul Bari by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. So he mentions that the second group that rebelled, okay, not calling, okay, to seek power, okay, to seek power, not calling to their beliefs, and they are two types. So who are these two types? He mentions that the group that are two types, the first one that rebelled, listen, kharaju, they rebelled angrily for the religion due to the oppression of their leaders, okay, and them not acting upon the sunnah. They are the people of haqq. Then he mentions وَمِنْهُمُ الْحُسَيْنِ بِالْعَلِي, and amongst them that did khuruj is who? Hussain bin Ali. وَآلُ الْمَدِينَةِ فِي الْحَرَّةِ وَقُرَّاءُ الَّذِينَ خَرَجُوا عَلى الْحَجَّاجِ وَقِسْمُ الْخَرَجُ لِطَلَبِ الْمُلْكِ فقط سواء كانت فيهم شبهة أم لا وهم البغاة. Fath al-Bari by Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani. We have Al-Ghazali confirm that Hussain radiyallahu anhum did khuruj. Okay, he did khuruj. Okay, so that's number one. So Al-Ghazali confirms he did khuruj. He wasn't aware of these mysterious two invented conditions that Hussain anhu did not give bay'ah, and he was from Al-Hali wal-Aqad. Al-Alam al-Nubala by Imam al-Dahabi. So we got Ghazali, now we got al-Dahabi, and he says, subhanallah al-Azim, he says, when commenting about Yazid, he says that his reign began with killing of the martyr, okay, Al-Hussein radiyallahu anhu, okay, and it ended with the battle of Al-Harra. So you notice he killed the noble grandson of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, complicit. Okay, well, I can't say he was, you know, the one that ordered the killing, but he was definitely complicit, because he said his reign began with the killing of the martyr Al-Hussein and he ended with the battle of Harra. So the people hated him, okay, the people hated him, and he was not blessed with a long life. Now listen, this is very important. He states that more than one person rebelled against him after Al-Hussein radiyallahu anhu rebelled against him. So Hussain radiyallahu anhu rebelled against Yazid, okay, according to Imam al-Dahabi, and then he states more than one people also rebelled after him. So Hussain radiyallahu anhu was the first to rebel, and then others rebelled after Hussain radiyallahu anhu. And who was they? That the people of Medina. Okay, the people of Medina also rebelled. And then he mentions a few names, I think some of them are Al-Khawarij. Who else rebelled? Which he denies, that no Sahaba rebelled, by Imam al-Dahabi. Okay, we got Al-Ghazali, who mentioned that many of the Sahaba rebelled. Okay, so Al-Hussein radiyallahu anhu rebelled. Look what he says as well with Al-Razabat.
All that was to go down during the caliphate of Mus'ab's brother Abdullah ibn Zubair, another companion who has been falsely accused of khuruj, of rebelling against his imam.
Wa Ibn Zubair bin Mecca. And Ibn Zubair also rebelled, after saying وَخَرَجَ عَلَيْهِ غَيْرُ وَاحِدْ بَعْدُ الْحُسَيْنِ, that more than one person rebelled against, or more than one people rebelled against Yazid after Al-Hussein rebelled against Yazid. And as the arrow's over, he says, "Wa Ibn Zubair bi Mecca." So Al-Dhahabi also confirms that Al-Hussein anhu rebelled, the people in Medina rebelled, Al-Harra, which he admits anyway, but he didn't know that the Sahaba were also involved in it. And then he also admits, which he denies, that Az-Zubair rebelled. So Al-Dhahabi and Al-Ghazali. Are you going to take them two? Known historians as well. Okay, Al-Dhahabi is a known historian. Al-Ghazali is, Hujjat al-Islam, according to Al-Dhahabi, if you go to Sir. Okay, or you're going to take a nobody in the 21st century who's changing the whole narrative, who's distorting history. Okay, creating his own narrative, creating his own conditions and inventing conditions. Or you're going to take two noble scholars, classical scholars of the past, giants in their own right. Al-Dhahabi confirms Hussain radhiyallahu anhu did khuruj, the people in Medina did khuruj, and Al-Zubair radhiyallahu anhu did khuruj. Or you're going to take him, or you're going to take the noble scholars of the past, and Al-Ghazali. Let's show you who else confirms that he did khuruj. As you can see on screen, we've got Muqaddimah Ibn Khaldun. So I'll just summarize. He just mentioned that as for Hussain radhiyallahu anhu, when he saw the flagrant transgression of Yazid, or the apparent transgression of Yazid amongst obviously his time, he mentioned that the Shia obviously wrote from the Shia of the Ahlul Bayt wrote to Hussain radhiyallahu anhu to tell him to come to him, etc. But where the arrows over, he says that Hussain radhiyallahu anhu saw khuruj against Yazid. Khuruj against Yazid due to obviously his fisq. So back to me. So you've got Al-Ghazali first, who confirms Hussain radhiyallahu anhu did khuruj, when aware of these two mysterious conditions that he's unearthed about. Hussain radhiyallahu anhu did not give bay'ah, so he didn't do khuruj, and he was from Ahl al-Hali wal-Aqd. So Al-Ghazali was aware of these two mysterious conditions for Hussain radhiyallahu anhu. Al-Dhahabi confirms that Az-Zubair radhiyallahu anhu did khuruj, and Hussain radhiyallahu anhu did khuruj. He says that more than one people did khuruj after Hussain radhiyallahu anhu, and he mentioned Az-Zubair. So we got Al-Dhahabi. Now we got Ibn Khaldun confirming that Hussain radhiyallahu anhu did khuruj. Okay, so we got two grand historians who obviously know about history and are scholars within their own right. Al-Dhahabi as well, a scholar, imam, muhaddith, all of these knowledge that he's got, wrote biographies. He's a imam, allama. And we got Al-Ghazali, okay, Hujjat al-Islam according to Imam Dhahabi. So we got three scholars who said that he did khuruj. Okay, so who are you going to take? And nobody in the 21st century. We got Ibn Imad, okay, Al-Hanbali. And as you can see, it states that it's been narrated or transmitted with agreement also that the acceptability of the khuruj of Hussain ala Yazid, khuruj again, okay, ala Yazid, and the khuruj of Ibn Zubair. So he confirms that he's done khuruj as well, okay. No Sahaba did khuruj, but we got classical scholars confirm. Al-Dhahabi confirmed he did khuruj. Ibn Imad al-Hanbali confirms he did khuruj. Al-Ghazali confirms he did khuruj. Ibn Khaldun confirms he did khuruj. Okay. Then he also says that the Haramain who rebelled against Bani Umayyah, obviously he confirmed that they did khuruj as well, so there's no issue there. And the khuruj of Ibn Ash'ath and those with him from the major tabi'in and the best of the Muslims against Hajjaj. Then he says the majority of the, again, Ibn Imad talking about the Hanabila, okay, because he's a Hanbali. So he says that the majority of the people have permitted khuruj against anyone that's similar to Yazid and Hajjaj, and there's amongst them that permit rebelling against any dhalim. Okay, let's carry on. Kitab al-Furu'. Now this is by Ibn Muflih. Okay, we're presenting you many scholars. Okay, so we've got here, so as you can see on screen, okay, we've got Ibn Muflih's book. He says وَجَوَازَ إِبْنُ الْعَقِيلِ وَإِبْنُ الْجَوْزِ الخروج على إمام غير عادل. That Ibn Aqil and Ibn Jawzi, major Hanbali scholars, who permitted khuruj against an imam that's not just. And listen to this, it says وذكر خروج الحسين على يزيد لإقامة الحق. That they mentioned the rebelling, both of them mentioned the rebelling of Hussain, again khuruj al-Hussain, again khuruj al-Hussain, okay, clear, against Yazid to establish the truth, okay. And classical Hanabali scholars, and he also mentions the same statement. He says وَجَوَازَ إِبْنُ الْعَقِيلِ وَإِبْنُ الْجَوْزِ الْخُرُوجَ عَلَى إِمَامٍ غير عادل وذكر خروج الحسين على يزيد لإقامة الحق وهو ظاهر كلام ابن رزين على ما تقدم. So he mentions the same statement. He also adds another scholar called Ibn Razin, who says this is the apparent view of Ibn Razin as well. Okay, so we've got a major scholar there. So let's go through it. Al-Ghazali confirms Hussain anhu did khuruj, and all the other Sahabas did khuruj as well. Al-Fathul Bari, Ibn Hajar brings it. We've got Al-Dhahabi in his Sirah Alam al-Nubala confirming that Hussain anhu did khuruj. Okay, He said that more than one did khuruj after Hussain. And then he mentioned the people of Medina, which he confirms, and even Ibn Zubair, which he denies. So Al-Dahabi, Al-Ghazali. Let's carry on. And then we got Ibn Imad. No, sorry, we got Ibn Khaldun, who he confirmed, he used his book, confirming that he did khuruj. Clear. فَرَأَى الْحُسَيْنَ الْخُرُوجِ عَلَى الْيَزِيد, or something along those lines. So Ghazali, Imam Ghazali, Imam al-Dahabi, Ibn Khaldun. Then we got Ibn Imad al-Hanbali, one of the classical Hanbali scholars. Okay, he confirms that there was an ittifaq, an agreement. Now obviously, is he going to claim an ittifaq like this? Ittifaq, that the agreement of the khuruj of Hussain and Ibn Zubair, and he confirms that Ibn Zubair did khuruj as well. So 4 major imams. Okay, 4 major imams. We go to Ibn Muflih, who brings Ibn Jawzi and Ibn Aqil. So even if you don't include Ibn Muflih, okay, we'll include Ibn Aqil and Ibn Jawzi. That's 6 imams. Ghazali, Imam Dahabi, Ibn Khaldun, Ibn Imad, Ibn Aqil, and Ibn Jawzi. That's 6 imams there. I've got category and historians, ulama, classical, confirming that Hussain radhiyallahu anhu did khuruj. Okay, classical. Then Al-Mardawi al-Hanbali brings it. Okay, so I could even add Al-Mardawi and Ibn Muflih, because they presented it. Why didn't they turn around and say no? They didn't do khuruj. They could have added it underneath. They could say no, because Hussain did not give bay'ah. Out of all of these 6 or 8 scholars, why is it that none of them responded with the conditions? None of them were aware of it. None of them. Mysteriously, these neo-Salafis of today have found these like black oil, black gold. They've unearthed oil, like similar to what they found in the late 30s, early 40s, where they found black gold and oil. They've mysteriously, Islamic scholarship was so poor, 8 major scholars were unaware of these 2 conditions that Hussain did not give bay'ah. Something such as simple as that, they were unaware that Hussain did not give bay'ah. And that's why it wasn't khuruj. None of the companions told him to do khuruj because he weren't doing it. Okay.
وقفه بعض الصحابة رافضين. ابن عمر استوقفه. أبو سعيد الخدري استوقفه. لم يقل أحد إنما تفعله محرم. إنما تفعله محرم وإنك مبتدع فاسق. اسمع القول. قال ابن عمر ما أراك إلا مقتولا. وقال أبو سعيد الخدري ما أراهم إلا خازلوك فقد خزلوا أباك. لو كان الأمر محرما قولا واحدا لقالوا إن هذا الأمر حرام. جميل.
جدا. This is a proof for us, Ya Sheikh, and against you. The fact that the companions did not accuse Hussein of engaging in the haram by his going out, his making khuruj in the rhetorical sense, proves that they did not believe Hussein was doing khuruj in the religious sense. Because as far as the companions were concerned, rebelling against a Muslim ruler, oppressive tyrant though he be, was haram, an act of treachery in opposition to the prophetic sunnah.
So if I present a companion now that told Hussain radhiyallahu anhu explicitly, do not rebel against your imam. Now the argument that he also had so many, issues. Wallah al-Azim, this man should be a lawyer. Just lies upon lies. He'll make a great lawyer. That if I present this now, clear categorically, that Hussain radhiyallahu anhu was told by a companion, do not rebel against your ruler. Would that be sufficient for you? Okay? Would that be sufficient? Because it won't be, because you'll shift the goalpost. Like I said before, you'll shift it, and as I said, when we get to part 2, we'll show you his arrogance. Honestly, his arrogance is off the Richter scale. Just beyond belief how this man can just be so stubborn and arrogant and belittle the classical scholars. But we'll present that in part 2. So let me now present clear proof that the Sahaba radhiyallahu anhum knew that Hussain radhiyallahu anhu was doing khuruj. Okay? As you can see on screen. We've got the book, okay? Tahdhib al-Kamal fi Asma' al-Rijal by Hafiz al-Mizzi. Okay, and as you can see, okay, because we know they're going to play linguistics with us, okay, we'll now break this down, and any native Arabic speaker, because as you know I'm a non-Arab, you guys can translate it for me, and you will see that this is clear that the Sahabi told Hussain radhiyallahu anhu not to do khuruj. And secondly, they argue that because he didn't give bay'ah, okay, because he didn't give bay'ah and he was from Al-Hali wal-Aqad, that made it perfectly okay for Hussain radiallahu anhu to take the land of Iraq. And we're going to get to obviously who was in control of Iraq at that time anyway. So as you can see on screen, it says, وَقَالَ Abu Sa'id. Abu Sa'id said, غَلَبَنِي الْحُسَيْنِ عَلَى الْخُرُوجِ. Okay, that Hussein overpowered me, okay, to do khuruj. He would argue, no, this khuruj means to go out. Okay, fair enough. Well, again, for the sake of argument, we'll just concede that. It says عَلَى الْخُرُوجِ. Okay, so no problem. We'll let that pass. But I don't know how you're going to get away with the next sentence. وَقَدْ قُلْتُ لَهُ. And I said to him, meaning Hussain radiallahu anhu, اتَّقِ اللَّهِ, fear Allah, and stay in your house. Listen to this, where the arrow's over. Do not rebel against your ruler. I'll repeat it again. This is clear for any native Arabic speaker. This translates as do not rebel against your imam. على إمامك, against your imam. وقلمه في ذلك جابر بن عبد الله وأبو واقد الليثي وغيرهما. That it also, they spoke to him about that, meaning not to do khuruj. And who spoke to him about that, to not to do khuruj? Jabir bin Abdullah, Abu Waqid al-Laythi, and other than them. So as you can see with the arrows over, I've left it, okay? Why is this mas'ala called al-khuruj ala what? Al-khuruj ala al-hakim al-muslim. Rebelling against a tyrannical Muslim ruler or oppressive Muslim ruler. Here it states, do not rebel against your imam. What I want to ask you now is this. Okay, clear testimony that Hussain radiallahu anhu was told not to do khuruj. Your argument was that he's from Ahl al-Hali wal-Aqd and he didn't give bay'ah. Okay, he didn't give bay'ah. So I would like to ask now, okay, why didn't Abu Sa'id al-Khudri quote the hadith, okay, about obeying your ruler and do not rebel against him, okay, because he confirmed that do not do khuruj. Quote the hadith that this is haram, you can't do it, you can't rebel against your imam. Now he didn't give bay'ah to him, so how is he his imam? That's another question. He didn't give bay'ah, that's your whole argument. He didn't give bay'ah and the matter needs to be settled. So if he didn't give bay'ah, according to you, that doesn't make him his leader. It does, even though he didn't give bay'ah, it's still his leader. As Abu Sa'id said, don't rebel against your imam. A leader who takes bay'ah or takes leadership with the bay'ah of the majority, meaning he takes power based on the bay'ah given by Ahl al-Hali wal-Aqd and the majority of the people giving bay'ah from Ahl al-Hali wal-Aqd, and they confirm his leadership. That bay'ah will still be binding upon him. Anyone in fact, because he has been given authority and power by the people of influence and virtue or power. Now, any subsequent khuruj now upon this leader, anyone, even if they didn't give bay'ah, will be classified as khuruj. Clear. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So, that leader that's been given bay'ah, okay, that leader has been given bay'ah by the power of the majority or the power of Ahl al-Hali wal-Aqd, and he's been given authority and wilaya, okay, or walaya, sorry, should I say walaya, okay. If anyone rebels against this imam or this leader, okay, it will be considered as khuruj. It will be classed as khuruj. Now, to confirm this even further, okay, to obviously back up my case even further, that the companions radiallahu anhum, when they spoke to him, some of them, okay, some had other reasons, okay, not all of them, said don't rebel against your leader or don't rebel against Yazid. Some did. Some were like, the people are treacherous, etc., etc., etc. But we'll get to that later. So as you can see on screen, we've got Muqaddimah Ibn Khaldun, okay, Muqaddimah Ibn Khaldun. And as you can see, it states that as for other than Hussain radiallahu anhu from the Sahaba who were in Hijaz or in Sham with Yazid and Iraq, and those who follow them, okay, those who follow them, they were of the opinion of what? What were they of the opinion of? Listen, they said they saw the companions that saw rebelling against Yazid, even if he's a sinner, okay, is not correct. Okay? Or it was not permissible. And this would obviously transpire in terms of killing and bloodshed. Okay, notice this is the illah. So obviously they did not follow Hussain radiallahu anhu, and did not condemn him for this, nor did they declare him sinful. Subhanallah al-azim. For verily he was a mujtahid, and indeed an example to be followed for the mujtahideen. Listen to this. So to summarize, it mentions that obviously those who opposed Hussain radiallahu anhu basically sat and did not give him any support, obviously, or aid him. They say that they were the majority of the companions. No problem, we concede that. But look at this. He says, وَكَانُوا مَعَ Yazid, and they were with Yazid. And listen to this, this is very important, people. Where the arrow's over. وَلَمْ يَرَوْا الْخُرُوجِ عَلَيْهِ. They did not see rebelling against Yazid. You see, khuruj alayhi. Ibn Khaldun confirms that Hussain radiallahu anhu was doing khuruj, meaning the companions, and we've already proved that Abi Sa'id told him, do not rebel against your Imam. And Ibn Khaldun also confirms. Classical scholars, historical scholars confirming. He's trying to change the narrative, you see. He's trying to rewrite history. You know, this super Salafi, you know, interpolation. No, we did khuruj. Clear.
الصحابي سليمان بن صرد رحل إلى آل العراق وقال دم الحسين في رقبتكم ومع 4000 خرج على الحاكم الظالم وقتل هو من معه.
The sincere of the citizens of Kufa, those from whom Hussein had hope for support, were besides themselves. Two such persons were the companions Suleiman bin Surad and Mikhnaf bin Sulaim. Because of their guilt and perceived sense of betrayal, the people would gather around Suleiman bin Surad, as he had been a lifelong loyalist to Ali bin Abi Talib. When Yazid died in 683, after 3.5 years on the throne, he was followed by his sickly but saintly son, Muawiyah II. Muawiyah bin Yazid's beleaguered, almost bedridden reign lasted but a few months, and with that, the Sufyanid line of the Umayyad dynasty had come to an end. With the collapse of Umayyad authority across the Islamic realm, Iraq was left without a stable government, during which time the Basrans evicted Ibn Ziyad from his palace, whence he fled to Syria. It was at the tail end of this period, in 685, some 4+ years after Karbala, that the penitent partisans to the house of Ali made their move. That's what Ibn Surad's men called themselves, Jayshut Tawabin, the army of the penitent, as they set out for Syria to earn their redemption. As they began their march, they shouted out, O avengers of Hussein, upon which their numbers began to swell to nearly 20,000. But true to form, at each stage on the road to Damascus, the fickle Iraqis broke away, till only 4,000 warriors were left. Worse still, in Syria, Ibn Ziyad had been busy. He convinced Marwan bin al-Hakam to declare himself caliph, rather than swearing allegiance to Ibn Zubair, which Marwan was initially given to do, thus ushering in the Marwanid line of a refocused Umayyad ruling dynasty. Ibn Ziyad then led a revitalized Umayyad army 10 times the greatly diminished force of the Tawabin on his way back to retake Iraq. The armies gave battle at Ain Warda, and what a dreadful battle it was. There was such a slaughter that the fighters were wading through blood. Victory, inevitably, went to the new caliph's men under Ibn Ziyad's command. Ibn Surad was felled by an arrow, killed along with his generals and most of his men. Ibn Ziyad oversaw their defeat at Ain Warda, just as he had overseen the defeat at Karbala of the one in whose memory they had set out. But the defeat of a companion of the Messenger of God in this world is but a gateway to his victory in the hereafter.
So what we're going to do now is affirm their khuruj, and they were companions as well. As you can see, we got the book Sir al-Alam al-Nubala, and this is Suleiman ibn Surat. We got Suleiman ibn Surat, okay? And you got Al-Amir Abu Mutarrif Al-Khuza'i Al-Kufi Al-Sahabi, okay? So he's a Sahabi, Suleiman ibn Surat, okay? Suleiman ibn Surat, okay? And he says that Ibn Abdul Barr mentions that he was the one that wrote to Hussain to pledge to him. Pledge to him for what? Obviously the bay'ah, the khilafah, and he's the one that basically didn't support him. And Imam al-Dhahabi says, قُلْتُ كَانَ دَيِّنًا عَابِدًا, that he was religious, okay, and he was a worshipper. Look what he says, خَرَجَ فِي الجيش, he rebelled with an army. خَرَجَ, clear. Imam al-Dhahabi, okay, Sahabi, Suleiman ibn Surat. خَرَجَ فِي الجيش, he rebelled with an army, seeking forgiveness to Allah due to their betrayal of Hussain the martyr. and they requested his blood, okay, and they called their army at-Tawwabin. And also, as you can see, we got the book Kitab al-Mihan by Muhammad ibn Ahmed bin Tamim, okay, at-Tamimi, okay, and he's also known as Abu al-Arab. So as you can see on screen, he mentions ذكر قتل سليمان بن سورة ومصيب bin Najaba, and he mentions, as you can see with the arrows over, that he mentions فقتل سليمان بن سورة ومصيب bin Najba وإنما خرجا. They both rebelled. Kharaja. They both rebelled. Okay, and Sulaiman ibn Surah the Sahabi. Okay, and Musayyib ibn Najaba, he's a Tabi'i. So Sulaiman ibn Surah, Imam al-Dahabi confirms he did khuruj. Abu al-Arab also confirms in Kitab al-Mihan that he did khuruj. We got Tarikh al-Islam by Imam al-Dahabi. Okay, historians upon historians for you. And then he mentions that Sulaiman ibn Surah and Musayyib ibn Najaba, etc. What did he say? The arrows over it. What did he say? خرجا في الربيع الآخر يطلبون بدم الحسين بالظاهر الكوفة في 4000. That they both rebelled. خرجا with the arrows over. You can see خروج خرجا. They rebelled. So historians are telling you that Sahabi, Sulaiman ibn Surah the Sahabi, he rebelled. خرجا. We got it from Imam al-Dahabi in Sir al-Nubala. We got it from Abu al-Arab in Kitab al-Mihan.
جيش سليمان بن سورة كان فيه 8 من شباب الصحابة.
I don't know where he plucked the figure of 8 from, but it's inconsequential.
We got the Sahabi, because this is all about Sahaba. Again, back to the same book of Sahaba. His name is Mikhnaf bin Sulaim. Okay, he's a Sahabi. Okay, and as you can see, his biography there, he mentions lahu suhba. He has suhba. He was a Sahaba. He met the Prophet ﷺ. He died upon Islam. He met the Prophet ﷺ. He believed in him and died upon Islam. Sahaba. You said there was no Sahaba. Okay, I presented you Sulaiman bin Surad, and now Mikhnif bin Sulaim. As you can see, we got Kitab Tarikh al-Kabir by Imam al-Bukhari. Lahu suhba. Rawa anhu Abu Ramla, قالوا Abu Asim, and Ibn Aoun, etc. Yes, suhba. He was a companion. Okay. Imam al-Bukhari also confirms it as well, that he was a
ليس الغريب غريب الشام واليمن إن الغريب غريب اللحد والكفن إن الغريب له حق لغربته على المقيمين في الأوطان والسكن سفر بعيد وزاد لن يبلغني وقوتي ضعفت والموت يطلبني ما أحلم الله عني حيث أمهلني وقد تماديت في ذنبي ويسترني تمر ساعة